right. So, how did we, Lexus, pivot our messaging during this time? Oh, wow. Just can't believe it's already October and we're starting to think about holiday shopping with Prime Day yesterday. But, it's been fast and furious. And I'm sure the brands that you work on or um, the companies you work at have all gone through some sort of what I'm about to share with you. So I hope this is interesting for you to see how it came to life for Lexus. So how did we do it? 5 things to keep in mind for today. This just helps me, in my mind, structure kind of the areas that, not to say we weren't already doing this before, but in terms of this crisis that we were thrown into, we definitely were required to take a more concerted effort to ensure we were thinking things thoroughly through and with throughout the organization before we acted. So let's get in and go through each one and see what each meant for Lexus during this time. Empathy. So in this environment, many brands have been walking a fine line throughout the pandemic and even everything that has transpired with society since. As marketers, we wanted to get messaging out. We want people to know that we're still here, but we don't want to come across as tone deaf. And consumers, we know it, are definitely taking note of who's out of touch during this time. And sometimes in brands, in many cases, may feel like it's safer to say nothing than say the wrong thing. But at Lexus, we knew we needed to convey our messaging. We are a people first brand, a very human centered brand, and we wanted to communicate what we had to say in a consumer first way, and acknowledging and empathizing with people and what they're going through. That means striving for better communications in times of the crisis, and the kinds of stories that we tell, people will see what we value as a brand, where our heart is. And so definitely 100% we have to empathize with our consumer. And, looking back at March, what we had in market was our invitation to Lexus sales event advertising. We'd normally be in the middle of that every March. This is what to expect from Lexus. But in light of what was going on, we no longer felt this was appropriate given the sentiment and COVID-19. So we worked very quickly to pivot off of this messaging. We thought, how does an automake empathize with consumers during this time? Well, in the following slides, I'll take you through 3 different ways, kind of 3 consumer truths we found over the course of the 5-ish months that led to 3 different campaigns that we brought to market. So the first consumer truth, when we look at the consumer and their state of mind during this time, we realize that really this truth here is universal, and it's what led us to our first campaign out of the gate. COVID-19 really reset everyone's priorities when the pandemic hit, and we focused on physical distance and life essentials. Think back to March as the country started shutting down, and service from Lexus wasn't top of mind. So how does the automake come in and start talking to you during this time? We needed consumers to know that we will always be for them as Lexus has always treated people first, and that's exactly what we brought to life. Our campaign was called People First, which tied back to our brand values. We had 3 spots. One declared that through good times and bad, Lexus will always put our guests first. The second spot was all around our service centers, which most were still open for service, deemed essential. And we were able to speak on how not just our service centers, but service culture overall is ingrained in everything that Lexus does, not just the service bay. The third spot highlighted our dealers and how they continue to find alternative ways to service our guests, whether it's through contactless shopping, home delivery, and more. So I have here one of the spots of the 3 to share.
This is not a time for business as usual. Or is it? What if business as usual means putting people first and understanding their needs? If that's your business 365 days of every year, then business as usual is precisely what these times require. Which is why your Lexus dealer will do what we've always done, put you first. Learn more about home delivery and other customized solutions. Contact your local Lexus dealer.